Hello everybody, today I'm going to talk about Texas HAF. Texas HAF is short for Texas Homeowners Assistance Fund Program. The Texas Homeowners Assistance Fund Program is a program that the government is sponsoring. They put money aside back in 2020 during the beginning of the pandemic. And they put this money aside for homeowners to use, especially for their mortgage payments. They figured that there were going to be a lot of people that would be needing some help paying their mortgages because they figured that people wouldn't be working, and sure enough. So what you need to do is, before you talk with your client and you're going to help them get these funds over to them, you need to get them to sign a three-party agreement with you. Third-party agreement, okay? We have the forms here at the office. Get with Eric, get with Gene, get with myself. We can hook you up with the third-party forms. You need to have this thing signed so everybody knows you have permission to speak on their behalf, okay? Part of the things that you're gonna wanna do is, when you get that written permission, you have to have at least the last 4 digits of their social security number. Whenever you make any kind of efforts towards Texas HAF or you make calls for your clients, they need that information. So I'm gonna tell you right now some things that you're gonna need to do to prepare yourself for this call. You can call anytime during normal business hours, but they do shut down over the weekend. You cannot call over the weekend. No one's gonna answer your calls. So we'll give you the number later. But right now, again, make sure you get written permission from your client. Once you get that, and you're basically gonna get them to apply to this Texas HAF, okay? And the sign is right back there. That's the website. So you just get them and they open up, they apply, they click on the button, apply now. Once you apply, you're gonna open up a portal in their system. Once you open up their portal, you have to make sure that your clients fill out all the questions, and they also put the backup to all of those questions. In other words, if they ask for tax returns, not only do you give the front page, but you give all the returns, and it has to go in a certain section. They're gonna ask you if there's a letter of sale, which is the foreclosure date, when they're actually gonna auction your house away. They need that. That has to go in the foreclosure section. So you want to make sure that when you explain to your clients that they understand they have to put things in the proper section, or they're going to act like they never received it. So if you want to expedite it, to hurry up the process, tell them to make sure they fill out every blank, and if they have any questions, to call you. So the information they're going to need is their social security number. If they don't have a social security number, their ID number, their tax ID, or whatever kind of number they have. And under their pre-qualifying is if they were affected by the pandemic. So you do want to make sure they were affected by the pandemic. I just had a first person today tell me that they weren't affected by the pandemic, and I don't understand why, but nevertheless, that's what this is about. So make sure you ask your client if they were affected by the pandemic. Because if they ever say that they weren't affected by the pandemic, then they do not qualify. Okay? So some of the things that you want to do first off, okay, is make sure you have their property address, you have their full name, and all that information is going to be on that third-party form. Okay? So if you get that third-party form signed, that's all the information you need, other than their case number. Their case number is going to be assigned to them once they open up their portal, either at the beginning or at the end of their process, depending on how much information they give, is they'll have that case number. You need that case number when you call in for your clients. And I strongly suggest that you do the calling for your clients and not leave it up to them, because they're going to get it all messed up. And what you want to do, like I said, there's information that you have to have. You have to have their full name, their last 4 digits of their social security, the property address, and of course the case number. Without the case number, they're not going to give you anything. So the case number is the very first thing you want to give when you make a call. I'm calling about case number, blah, blah, blah. And then you give the name, Then they ask you what other information they need for you to talk about that case. Once you get them on the phone and start talking to them, you need to be real good and take notes. Who, what, when, and why. Who you talk to, when you talk to them, why you talk to them, and what they told you. Make notes, because you want to make these calls every other day. They don't open up on weekends. You need to call every other day. Every time you call, you're going to talk to someone different. You have to understand this is a call center. It's not a bunch of people with a bunch of files all around them. 9 times out of 10, these people are at home. They're answering the phone and they're just doing a job. All they do is give out a little bit of information. You have to know what questions to ask to get more information. That's what this video is all about. So once you get an established case number, you have all this stuff in front of you, then you can make your calls and make sure, like I said, you write down who you talk to, because you're going to call back in 2 days and do the same process, okay? One of the things you have to make sure of is the first thing, once you get the second or third call, you ask them if they're aware of the auction date. So you want to ask them to expedite this because of this end date of this auction date. Say you're calling a month or 2 before that auction date. That usually takes them anywhere between 30 to 60 days to process this information unless you expedite it. You can have them expedite it. Asking the right questions is expediting the case. So what you want to ask them is, has a case manager been assigned to the case? No. If they say no, well then you ask them, has a representative been assigned to this case? If they say no, you ask them, why not? How soon is that going to happen? The next question you want to ask, once they tell you that one has been assigned, you need to ask them if they have contacted the lender, okay? There's several steps that these people have in their agenda that they have to do before they qualify you, before they actually give you the money. And they don't actually give it to you. What it ends up happening is they pay your lender directly. You never see a check. The homeowner never sees a check. It goes straight to the lender the way it should be, okay? And that's why you have to keep asking the pertinent questions at the right time. For example, you don't want to ask if they've talked to the lender if they hadn't even had a case manager assigned to you. Before they do anything more than just gathering information, once they gather all the information, then they assign you a case manager or a representative. Depending on who you talk to is what they call it. It's basically the same thing, it's just who you talk to. So once a case manager has been assigned, then that's basically around step 4. There's 7 steps to the process. When they contact the lender, that is step 5. Once they contact the lender, then they're going to make sure that they have the current information. That's why if you're doing your homework, you're also talking to the lender and finding out the latest numbers as far as the reinstatement fee and the payoff amount. Those are the 2 numbers you need to have current as you're doing this. Because as you well know, if you get approved for the loan modification, then you don't qualify for Texas HAF. You either get one or the other. You don't get both. If you qualify for Texas HAF, then you don't need a loan modification. Who's going to want to have a loan modification? Once you get this grant that pays your debt, you're done, you're over. So those are the steps you want to do. And like I said, there's 7 steps. Most of the times the people you talk to, it's just a call center. Remember, they don't know what step. You have to ask the right question and figure it out. If they give you the case manager, and if you're lucky enough to talk to the case manager, that's a different story, but I doubt you will, okay? So that's it, basically a quick wrap up of what to do for Texas HAF, which is Texas Homeowners Assistance Fund Program. Good luck, guys, and enjoy helping people out. Goodbye.